Now that I think about it, all these entertainment markets look alike. Every single season you'll have up to 3 big boys that dominate the entirety of it, leaving the rest in the dust only for things like me to pick them up and watch them. Looks like this season was almost entirely dominated by little pineapple over here, because honestly, if I hadn't had Golden Kamuy on the schedule, I would never even have realized that it exists. Golden Kamuy is actually a pretty famous pseudo-historical manga, mostly because it features a rarely covered topic of Japanese history and Ainus, aka the hipster tier people with a Japanese oppression role. Well, okay, I'm being a little bit unfair. These are the Japanese we're talking about. Them admitting any of their faults is about as rare as pretty much any other Asian nation admitting their faults kinda thinking about it. But I digress. Our story follows the adventures of immortal Sugimoto, a Russo-Japanese war veteran who had survived the siege of Port Arthur and is now mining something in Hokkaido for reasons we'll only see once in the first episode and then forget about. After hearing some story about how these brave Cherokees somehow gathered a fuck ton of gold and almost mauled to death by a bear because of it, he meets a Sherpa, an Arvanite whose father was one of the people who gathered the aforementioned fuck ton of gold and then decided to search for it, while battling against the 7th Division of the Japanese Army, occasional weirdos, bears and prisoners who all have tattoos that, if combined, make a map of the exact location of that gold. So yeah, it's your typical gold rush adventure story, only with the usual foreigner stereotype being your legitimate Japanese minority group. But is it any good? Well, kinda, yes. I know, get used to it. I have a feeling that you're gonna hear that phrase a lot this season. The story and characters are probably the strongest part of the show. While not something you haven't seen before, each and every one of them is badass enough for you to give a shit about them, and even have distinct personalities, motivations, and looks, which, as we all know, is an important thing to have in your action anime. The historical and cultural tidbits, while sometimes tedious, are not only fun and somewhat educational, but also serve an important part of the story. If there's anything I can say I definitely didn't like in this department, it's that the show relies too much on jokes and slapstick humor. But what can I say? I don't consider people making poop and dick jokes to be funny for more than 2 minutes. Where the show suffers is its production values. The graphics are mediocre at best and horribly rendered at worst, with 3D objects terribly contrasting with drawn ones even on still images, let alone while moving. And to make matters worse, it actually started to downgrade the further it went, using many standard money-saving techniques to keep it afloat. Sometimes it's barely noticeable, but in the latter episodes it becomes irritating. The music served its purpose well, although the tone, lyrics, and the beat of it strongly reminded me of a shonen anime. Like seriously, go find any random Naruto opening, preferably shit poodle, and play Golden Kamuy over it. You'll be amazed at how well it actually goes together. If I could describe my feelings about this anime in one definitive word, it would probably be rushed. It has the tone and structure of a big shonen anime, you know, the ones that have at least 100 episodes with big budget constraints and have to be compressed into 2, possibly 3 seasons, while resulting in a coherent but rushed experience that in the end it doesn't feel in any way concluded. Also, like all shonen anime, it has a nasty, or great depending on what you want from it, tendency to leave your head the moment you stop watching it, but miraculously return once you hear the opening theme. I would honestly suggest you wait for the 2nd season if you want to watch it, cause as it stands, it's about as tasteful as food made in an international fast food joint, and just about as likely to give you diarrhea after consuming it. Except chicken nuggets, those are always cool.